This training is brought to you from the Disability Services Program at SAFE, which is located in Austin, Texas. SAFE stands for Stop Abuse for Everyone, and that's our mission.
Hello, my name is Rashid Amrani. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Disability Services here at SAFE. Welcome to Unit 5 of the Roll Call Training Series, Responding to Distress. Today, I'm co-presenting with our Program Manager, Heidi Lursch. Today we're going to talk about ways you can respond to children who are experiencing distress. The information provided here can also be found in SAFE's digital app, All Kids Safe. The tips and strategies are applicable and effective for any child, including children without disabilities. There are strategies for interacting with an array of disabilities, including intellectual and developmental disabilities, mental health conditions, sensory processing, and autism spectrum. First, we're going to consider responses to general distress. Then we're going to learn some de-escalation tips and strategies. And finally, we'll talk about responding to children who are in distress. Experiencing a traumatic event affects a child's thinking, feeling, and behavior. During a traumatic event, and even in the time immediately following, children may be acting or interacting from a protective state of fight, flight, or freeze. It's helpful to wait until the children have settled before expecting them to respond to direct questioning. When distressed, children with disabilities may talk loudly, walk away when they haven't been asked to do so, put their hands over their ears, throw things, or show other unexpected behavior. These behaviors are very natural and predictable responses to traumatic events. If the child seems exhausted, give them a break, or even allow them to take a nap. Consider offering a break in a different but safe area or room. Your calm demeanor and response in those moments can help reduce a child's self-protective responses to danger and help alleviate their distress. To begin de-escalating, take a moment to pause before interacting. Notice your feelings first. Do you feel nervous or anxious or worried? Calm your own emotions before interacting with the child. Your presence will have an effect on the child. A bigger presence and more commanding voice may create a more challenging situation. If possible, attempt to communicate closer to their level. Be calm, predictable, kind, and empathetic. Keep your posture and expression relaxed and non-threatening. Tell the child why you're there and what you're going to do, step by step. Predictability can be calming. If you have time to prepare in advance, you can print a visual schedule with symbols or pictures for each agenda item. You can also use numbers when possible. For example, 1, my name is Rashid. 2, I'm here to help you. And 3, we're going to do this together. Offer direct eye contact unless it makes a child uncomfortable. It may be difficult for some children with disabilities to return or maintain eye contact, but direct eye contact can be one simple way to offer comfort. Pay attention to the needs of the child. Proceed at the child's pace and not your own. A calm and comfortable child is more likely able to access their memory and language and give you a more comprehensive response. Adapt the setting to the needs of the child. Overstimulating environments can be especially difficult for some children with disabilities. If a child seems overstimulated, consider the setting of your interaction. What can you do to help provide a more calm environment? Can you help make the environment more quiet and peaceful? Consider removing sirens, lowering the volume of radios and other communication devices. Consider the lights. Is it too bright? Too dark? You can also move to a less chaotic space or engage in a calming activity to help reduce stress. Reading books, drawing, or playing with Play-Doh can be calming. Offering a stuffed animal, or pillow, or weighted blanket, or noise-reducing headphones can also help reduce stress. These kind of sports can be especially meaningful for overstimulated sensory distress. Validating a child's emotions can be a positive step towards building rapport. For children who have a difficult time processing words or information, validate with plain language, like, I can see that you're sad. For children who are able to process more complex information, name what you see or hear. I see and hear that you're frustrated, and I want to make sure that I understand you, It's important that I understand what you say. Ask the child, is there something I can do to help, rather than assuming that they want help. And not all children will be able to respond to questions. You can still validate emotions by saying something like, I know this is hard. While you do want to ensure that a child is safe with you, you don't want to continually ask if they're okay. They might not be okay, which is understandable. Instead, try sharing. I understand you may be afraid. I'm afraid sometimes, and I don't like to feel afraid. If you're working with a child with an intellectual disability or someone is having difficulty understanding you, speak slowly, pause in between sentences, and allow the child time to process. Again, some children may not know how to respond, and they may just sit there quietly. Instead of initiating over and over again without a response, ask if they need time to just sit quietly. Be patient with distress. As much as possible, ignore stress-responsive behaviors like foot stomping or constantly repeating a request. Behavior you pay attention to may be more likely to be repeated. And avoid saying things like no, or don't, or stop, or calm down. All of these phrases may intensify a child's distress. And particularly with young children, it can sometimes help to just let them work through their distress while creating a calm, safe space. Say, I see you're upset, and I'm here to help when you're ready. And the more calm you are, the more likely the child will start to feel calm as well. Use questions that start with what instead of why. Why questions may be taken as judgment. Why are you upset about that? Why are you so sad? Knowing why something is upsetting may not be as important as knowing what is upsetting. Instead, ask, what are you most worried about? What is making you feel mad right now? What would be helpful? Acknowledge and validate without judgment. Rephrase what the child said and repeat it back to them in a calm tone. Remember that the feelings are real for the child, whether or not they make sense to other people. Some children may even change their story by saying something happened to a friend when it really happened to them to see how you respond. Even if there are pieces of their story that don't quite make sense, it's important to believe and validate their emotions. After you rephrase what the child has said, check in to make sure that you got it right. This will give the child the opportunity to clarify and correct you, and it'll also let the child know that you're really listening. Allow time for silence, and be comfortable with long wait times. This allows processing time for the child and you. Waiting also lets the child know that you're not pushing them and that they are your priority. When helping children identify the source of distress, as much as possible, let the conversation happen naturally. Allow the child to come up with possible solutions to ways they could feel better. This empowers the child. Remember, the child is likely to be the expert on what will work for them.
Hi, my name is Heidi Lersch, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm the manager for disability services at SAFE in Austin, Texas, and I'm here today to talk to you about responding when children are in crisis. When responding to a child in crisis, it's really important to see the child's behavior as an expression of emotions and an attempt to communicate instead of the problem. All behavior is communication, and the child may have learned that some behaviors are the most effective in getting their needs met. Separate the child from your feelings about their behavior. When children are angry, remain calm. Talk slowly and clearly to be heard over chaotic situations. If the child becomes louder, keep your own voice calm and quiet. Be okay with the child not responding to requests. Keep the child safe until someone with expertise in working with children with disabilities or a trusted family member can come. If the child is in an unsafe situation, intervene immediately to keep them safe. Unsafe situations include imminent harm to self or others, property destruction, headbanging, or running into the street. If the behavior is safe, let the situation play out. Many stemming or self-soothing behaviors may seem unusual but are harmless. Stemming might look like a child rocking back and forth or flapping their hands. Stemming is self-stimulating behavior, usually involving repetitive movements or sounds. If parents must be removed from the setting during a first responder call, even if they are the abusers, the child's behavior can escalate. You might say to the child, "I'm just here to help. Is there anything that I can do right now that might help you feel better?" You can also give some space by moving a few steps back and moving others away until the child can regain control again. Be far enough away that you are not threatening, but close enough that you can continue to monitor the situation. If the child is really upset at something or someone, remove that thing or person if possible. Explain what you're doing to the child. For verbal abuse that is directed at you, ignore it. It's really not personal. Sometimes verbal abuse is one way a victim has learned to be safer, by getting people to back off and leave them alone. Some children have learned that it is safer to be alone. The child may be in a state of fight or flight and may not be able to have a sit-down conversation and explain to you what is upsetting them or what is wrong in the moment. Realize that the child may not be sleeping, may be scared, or may be expecting something bad to happen based on their past experiences. Again, help the child connect their behavior to a feeling or an emotion. For example, you might say, "I see that you are clenching your fists. Do you feel angry?" If the distress does not decrease, seek help from the child's protective caregiver or support person. If the child cannot settle or move out of acute distress, reschedule the meeting. For first responders or law enforcement, restraining or getting physical with any child will most likely make things worse. Restraining or getting physical with a child always has the potential to cause additional trauma. Give space to an anxious or crying child who is surrounded by too many people. And be aware of your own body language. Keep your posture relaxed when interacting with a child. Let the child know that talking about what happened might be difficult. Allow the child to move around, fidget, or jump in place if that helps them self-soothe. If that isn't helping, you might introduce another activity, such as drawing or playing with Play-Doh, and then restart the conversation. Provide fidget items like stress balls, silly putty, and kinetic sand. Some children who are emotionally shut down can benefit from playing with fidget items. You might also have soft pillows, stuffed animals, and a weighted sensory blanket available to offer to the child. A change in scenery can be helpful for some children. You might offer to take a walk with the child if their support person can follow. When a child is crying and feeling anxious, let the child talk through their distress. Remind the child that there are people to support them. It is normal for children to struggle to communicate effectively when their feelings are intense. Focus on being with the child in their distress and recognize how hard it must be for them to feel this way. If the child is crying, offer tissues and say, "I'm here to help you. It is my job to keep you safe." Ask the child what they do to make themselves feel more comfortable. You may have to offer concrete choices and let the child know what you can and cannot do. You might say, "Would you like to take a 15-minute break? Would you like some water? Or would you like to have this meeting at another time?" When a child is experiencing the most extreme anxiety and fear, the child may shut down. This does not mean that the child is being uncooperative or disrespectful. Shutting down might be an involuntary protective response and not something that is within the child's control. If a child is not responding to requests or following directions, they may not fully understand what you are saying to them. Use clear 1- or 2-step directions. If a child is emotionally frozen or shutting down, Give them time and space to settle. Take a break from asking questions or making requests. You can say, "I am here when you are ready." This gives the child back some control. If you are having a hard time understanding a child's communication, you can provide other options. You might say, "Can you show me with a drawing or a picture? Or are there other ways for you to tell me what happened? Can you act it out with this toy?" Let the child know that they can take their time to explain and that you can wait. Say, "I am here when you are ready to share." When the child is ready, begin by gently asking neutral questions. You might say, "Do you need some water?" Or, "Is this where you would like to sit?"
Thank you, Heidi, for finishing out our roll call training series with strategies for responding to a child in crisis. We also gave helpful ways to de-escalate a child in distress. Remember, your response can have a positive influence on a child's reactions. When possible, present a calm and welcoming demeanor, validate the child's feelings and emotions, and empower them with choices and decisions. Congratulations! You completed the roll call training series, Child Victims with Disabilities. We hope you found this training helpful and that you will continue forward with knowledge, strategies, and solutions for recognizing and responding to children with disabilities. Please reach out to us with any questions or comments at disabilityservices@safeaustin.org. Our contact info and additional resources can be found in the video description below. Again, on behalf of our whole team at Disability Services and SAFE, thank you for joining us, and thank you for making a difference in the lives of children with disabilities.